Welcome in, everybody, to your new favorite anime podcast. I'm your host, Ethan. This is my best buddy in the world, Chase, and this is Hype Check. Basically, what we are going to be reviewing episodes throughout the week, new episodes, new seasons, and seeing if they live up to what the hype actually is around them. Today, we're going to be kind of covering, since it comes out next week, the new season 2, we're going to be covering a little bit of Hell's Paradise, talking a little bit of what we liked of the season 1 and what worked, what didn't work for it, and if it's season 2 is really going to either recover or benefit it more. To start off, we're just going to kind of break into what we think we want to start with here, and I'll direct the question to Chase, but I'm going to lean into the Mappa animation. Expectations versus reality. How do you think that kind of hit this first season?
When it comes to these types of shows, like I'm usually not nitpicky, and I would say for the most part, like I was pretty pleased with the animation. I think for the most part, the Mappa and like obviously the anime, the manga itself does a really good job of just telling the story, and it really kind of drew me in. So I felt like I was busier necessarily kind of like watching the story than necessarily the animation, if that makes sense. But
I get that.
definitely, I would say good animation, but you know, for everybody to think that it's going to be that everything that Mappa does is JJK level, just isn't honestly realistic, right? Like
It's
obviously,
not.
as big as Mappa is, right? It's not like that's multiple teams, kind of working on all of these different projects. And I'm sure each of these teams kind of have their all-star players, if you will, that are behind the scenes working on this animation, which back 2 years ago, I know people were very big into looking at how much they were putting into, say, Demon Slayer, and how much they were
Jeez. Yeah.
putting per episode into that. And they were like, if everybody did that, because then that animation would be great. But it's just like, I don't think not everything has to be choreographed that way for for an anime to be to consider great or even amazing. Definitely given a 7 out of 10. Like it wasn't
Ooh.
Mappa's. It in my opinion, wasn't animated like JJK. I don't think it's the same story as JJK, in my opinion. But looking forward, very excited for season
Mm-hmm.
two. I think it's a great lineup for 2026 this year.
I agree. I agree in the sense. I thought that the animation that centered around what they were showing as the spirit, the Tor, the what's it called, the Toru, whatever, like the key, the energy that they were
Oh,
portraying.
Tao.
Tao, there it is. I couldn't remember the wording for it.
So yeah, yep.
Tao.
Tao is for those who haven't watched, and it's no
Mm-hmm.
spoilers, but that's the power system, or that's what the power system that they're really trying to introduce. There's actually still a lot of mystery,
There
right,
is.
within the Hell's Paradise verse. For those who aren't reading the manga, which by the way, no manga spoilers here. This is specifically just anime based. We won't bring those spoilers. Maybe do baby shout outs here and there.
Every so
Uh,
often, yes. But yeah,
but
we will majority of the time be covering only the anime side of most of these
Yeah. So
conversations.
right now, what's been shown to us, right, it has been pretty mysterious, and Tau right now seems to be right now the first kind of form of power scaling or
Mm-hmm.
power system within that world, which we still don't fully understand yet.
I I agree. I think that I liked how they diversified the different ways of showing what Tao was. You got to see someone knew it as a key, someone thought of it as internal life source, someone sees it as the blind samurai saw it as a way to see the waves of everything, like the waves coming off of
Yeah.
people. Tao was introduced in so many different varieties that I thought that made it interesting to watch and see how they're gonna expand more on it. I thought that was fun. I thought it was good.
Yeah. And not and this may be a leap. So for those who may comment or who may be watching, please don't throw me to the wayside for this.
Oof.
I'm just saying for me, I really I like again what they're introducing with Tau. I like that power system,
Mm-hmm.
the scaling again that they're trying to introduce and the explanation behind it. I feel like they're trying to give it some form of complexity, like Nen from Hunter X Hunter. Right?
Oh,
I Me personally,
interesting.
When I was watching Hell's Paradise, and then
Hmm.
they were explaining that Tao, I don't know, I got the same vibe, the same like connection when they were explaining Nin and Hunter X Hunter. So
Oh, that's
I'm
a.
not saying that like right, I say that there's like this massive correlation and that's where there's going, but I feel like
Yeah.
they're trying to give it some more complexity outside of like key, right?
Yeah, no,
So
yeah, for sure. I never even thought about it in the Hunter X Hunter Ninwood. That tracks really well too of comparison. And if you haven't seen Hunter X Hunter, by all means, go please watch Hunter X Hunter.
yeah, shout out to Hunter X
Yeah,
Hunter.
it's a
Please go
great
check that
one.
out.
It's an older one, but it's a great one. Yeah, that comparison is crazy to think about, honestly.
Dude, that's what I'm here for. I get in deep.
I
So
love it. I love it. But I guess segmenting off of that and into what we think of how it all is, let's just power system clarify. We did world building, the island. There's just not. I feel like still so much around why this island exists and how it came to be. You know,
yeah,
how are those gods here? How did they get there? How did they first discover Tao? You know, who are they in total? There's just a lot of mystery still around it. They didn't hit much on it, I don't think.
yeah. And that's what I think, in my opinion, has that allure to season two. Definitely, my wife and I are very excited to
Mm-hmm.
watch season two. There's again, I think the island is very cool. I like how like everything is kind of high stakes.
It
Um,
is.
not that I feel like an anime is only good when the characters die, even if they're a main character or side character, but right,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like the swiftness and the gruesomeness of the deaths and like and just like and the island of itself, right? You're just like every time they go somewhere new, you're just like, oh my gosh, you're like, what is it? A little bit, maybe that's just me,
Something,
but every time,
something.
yeah,
I
it's
hated at some point, man. There was like yeah, like you said, the characters just die quickly, or side character, and like the red haired samurai guy. Just I thought he was going to be
um,
so overpowered and good, and he just dies instantly to the giant dude. I'm
yeah.
like, come on now.
Let me yeah, if folks can help me with the pronunciation, I believe is the main female is
Mm-hmm.
Saiga, Saiga.
Yes, I believe that was her name.
Uh, was it her? It was the it was the Asamone she kind of looked up to, or maybe one of the head
Yes.
Asamones that he, which no spoil. Well, if you haven't watched the anime, there may be
Ah.
a little bit of spoilers in there, so you got to watch out for that. But anyways, what Ethan is referencing though is, yeah, there are some swiftness and there are some characters that you are going to be introduced to that um, you don't necessarily get to see demonstrations of their power,
Mm-mm.
but what is it, 12, 13 episodes? They do a
Yeah.
really good job of at least getting you to believe who's stronger than who and by what margin, right? Like pretty quickly. I think that's so right, right away the show starts and it's just do or die,
Oh,
right?
that
Like
was so cool.
you're getting introduced to Gabimaru, pretty much, and he's in a it's kind of almost it's kind of comical in regards to Gabimaru and his
Yeah.
do or die situation, and then immediately from that to the world that's being built, the do or die situation of seeking the pardon, and then immediately getting to the island, and the island's like, yep, like if you you'll it's whittled down very quickly who belongs there and who doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. You like the island, as soon as you get on the island, like, you know, you shouldn't be here. Please get off.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
don't be here. Just leave.
I think
Yeah.
and definitely correct me if I'm wrong. It's just like for those of us too who've been anime fans for as long as we have, and those who even who've quickly become fans and have dabbled in um, many different genres, if you will, excuse me, that sometimes it's refreshing to have these faster paced
It
shows,
is.
right? Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I have appreciation for world building, story building, and getting the meat and potatoes all the time, if you will. But right, like sometimes it's nice in like 13
Mm-hmm.
episodes we got a lot and there's still left. There's still a lot left. And
Still
that
so
I
much.
just appreciated that because some of these projects, take so long that the team gets unhealthy. The team, right? Like it's like, oh my gosh. So I like these kind of get in, get excited, get hooked quick. And then who knows, season two, I never look in too much to what's slated and necessarily how many episodes are
Yeah.
promised, but sometimes they do they'll do another 13. Sometimes like there have been times too, season two's been 24, 22, 26 episodes
Mm-hmm.
as well, which I would love to see, but at the same time, for the health and for the pacing of the show, if 13 episodes is all they can manage, then great. I mean, if it's going to be the same pace as the last 13, I'll take it.
Yeah, the pacing they kept really well. They kept moving it. They didn't stall you in one section. They moved it. They moved it, moved it, moved it, kept it going. Then they finally taught you, all right, there's an outer island, inner island, center island. So
Yeah.
it was good that they finally got through that all. And like you pointed at, not everything can be as long as and drawn out as other animes. Sometimes people just want to sit down and bang out 13 episodes and be happy in life. That's perfectly fine. That's great. I guess. And then moving into it with characters, which one stood out like to you as your favorite throughout the season? Who was like, I like that character?
I mean, right, obviously, like who does I like Gabimaru.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fun MC. Um Give me, just so I don't butcher his name here.
I had him written down. I think I lost them though. I had a bunch of the names written down.
I guess that wasn't a good way to. Oh yeah, here. Yeah, so his name is Tamiya Gantetsuya. Suya.
Okay.
Yikes. He's the guy with kind of like the pointed beard mustache, and he has the sword.
Yes.
He's the one.
The dragon.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
sword
That's
dragon.
good.
Mm-hmm.
The sword dragon. Man,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so sorry. Butchered his name. Yikes on that one.
Yeah, their names are
But
aggressive in the show, so it's okay.
I mean, I apologize, folks. I as a yikes. But loved. I mean, right away you'll see kind of what happens to him, and that was kind of I was kind of bummed about it. But then I loved that it's just like I feel like they may needed to nerf him because they wrote the rest of his character too strong. I don't know. Maybe because I mean, he shows up. Think of it. He's got one. So I mean, you're on an island, and right, folks. It's not like these are all convicts. So there's no love. There's no love for these folks that are on this crazy mission for the Shogun in a world that none of us can, who've only watched the anime, can explain what the heck is going on. And right away, this dude receives what could be a fatal wound right away,
mm-hmm.
right away,
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't. I mean, sure, he does get bandages, and I know we live in a fictional world here, but I'm just trying to say like I'm just trying to say first couple of minutes are my boys on the island, and he gets crit hit. So I'm just saying like.
He did
And then
say
he
though
shows up,
in one
he shows
episode.
up later.
Yeah.
He shows up later to introduce himself again, and I'm like, I like that. I'm always a fan of that. I'm always gonna.
He did say though that having one arm, he felt like he was stronger now. He felt like he and in the episode that he started fighting, he said like I only got one hand now. I feel like I can do more.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked towards the end. And so to not ruin too much more than maybe we already have for some folks.
We
Just
probably are.
the groups and folks that make it towards the end when you get to through your 13 episodes, like I like them. I'm interested. I want to, and I want to. To this point too, as much death as there was, I'm like, if all of these guys can make it, it wouldn't make me mad. Like that. That's how much death there was, folks. Like there's enough people died that I'm like, okay, like it could be. I'm happy with who's left.
Yeah, because there was what? There was 10 convicts and then 10 executioners with, so 20 people in total hit the island, and we've seen now at least only two groups that are three groups that are alive from the 20. There's only three groups going.
So there's a 2-person group.
Yep.
That's very interesting.
That
right?
one's interesting. I don't know what to make of that.
So then
Gabimaru's
there
group.
there is Gabi Mars group, which basically formed with Tamiya's group.
Yep.
So that's and so they're a pretty decent sized group. And then there's one more, but I'm drawing a blank. But there is more folks in line.
Yeah, the blind swordsman group, who is the main.
Like at least half. I would
Yeah.
close. Let me think. Out of the 20, yeah, I would say there's probably almost half of the people left.
Yeah, two, four. There's 7. I think there's only 7 of the 20.
Those are only 2 groups.
No, so there's the wild beast kid and his brother, and then you got Gabimaru, sword dragon, his executioner, and then the little girl. But I didn't count her in the group that came. So there's 3 there, or 4 there, no 3 there, plus 2 is 5, and then the other group, blind swordsman, the main side lady that was with Gabimaru, and the ninjutsu girl.
I forgot.
There's 7.
I thought they already regrouped. So like, see, there you go. That just shows it's like, right. I probably need to do another
7 out of 20 though. All them hiring people, 7 out of 20. That's crazy. That's wild.
So yeah, I feel like and how it went down and stuff like that. Like I feel like maybe some characters got more screen time than
They did.
others.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like some could have gotten more love than they did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, who's still around, I am interested in. I'm like, okay, though some others I was interested in didn't fare as well. I am interested in who's there. And so again, I think really there's nothing wrong with, like I don't feel like Hell's Paradise was home run material, but like what's wrong with the solid triple? What's wrong with the
solid triple on base? As long as you're on base, you're winning. Now it wasn't, and I agree. Yeah,
and what's great, because now they can set the what if season 2 is another triple, or if it's a home run, then it's even better. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, I feel like really this was a 7 out of 10. This was a great foundational plot. I'm interested. The fan base is interested, especially for those who are only again in the anime. There's so many questions we don't know. So much happens in the episodes that they give us. I feel like there's a lot to look forward to. So I'm very optimistic. I'm really optimistic for 2026, to really be honest. Right? Like I feel like
2026 is looking good.
Like they are spoon feeding us.
Yeah,
and,
eating well.
It's about time. It's about time. I have no problem. It's exciting to see anime become is like as mainstream as it is.
Oh, absolutely. Especially since how long we've been watching it as a whole, and then just seeing it more and more get into just everyone talking about it. It's becoming common knowledge in day to day.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of like the 2026 year, there's Hell's Paradise season 2, obviously, is what we're kind of getting hyped about here. Frieren. I can never say it right. Frieren season 2.
Frieren. Yep,
JJK season 3. And then the end of Fire Force. That's just the name of just off the gate here. That's just off the rip here at the start of that. That's all starting up here in a couple weeks. That's crazy.
That folks, that's just your Q1.
That's Q1, baby.
26.
Yeah.
So, right. So yeah, right. Oh, here we go. I have that list. Excuse me.
There we go, baby.
We were looking at the final Fire Force final finale, season 3, part 2, I believe is what it's officially titled. Hell's Paradise season 2, obviously. Frieren season 2.
Oh, such a good anime.
Which debatably should have been anime season of the year.
I think so too. Yep,
and then
I agree.
Jujutsu Kaisen season 3, and then actually, folks, this would be a great time as well to be able to chime in and let us know what you think. Maybe one non-stream anime for us to kind of dive into and discuss. I have access to High Dive, and there's some on there I've been looking at, and I've been a Crunchyroll member for as long as I feel like you could have been a Crunchyroll member. And then now I also have High Dive. So, trying to show the community some love and see what they
There
got
we
going
go.
on here that
Look at you.
maybe not on them. So would love to hear some suggestions, or again, any that maybe not, that may not be main stream. My genres do vary vastly. I watch across the board. So
I mean, I'm no
throw 'em my way.
different. I'm no different. I definitely think I watch different ones than you do quite a bit. I get into those little off, like just season one, nothing. I like the ones that go into what is it? You either reincarnated ones. I can't reincarnated.
Isekai.
Yes, I like those types of, man. I don't know why. They suck me in. I like seeing the different worlds that people make just to be reincarnated into it after you die. The different ways
So
someone struggles to.
you don't
be
feel like that's a
great.
trope that's overplayed. Like you're like you
It is. It very much is a trope overplay, and it's because it's easy to do. It's an easiest anime you can make and make a concept around it, but it's comforting, I guess. I just like the concept of it, and I like how it all blends
and those are
and
generally
works.
pretty fast paced right? Because they normally get some broken skill or quickly find the way to set broken skill of the world, which right there with you. I would say for sure in your experience, you've definitely dabbled more. A lot of the ones too, I feel like you've run across or suggested to me are the ones that for Mangekyu and manga, where they do the 13 episodes to kind of get you hooked, and then they were like, "Yep, we're just doing one season, but they're just the manga or Mangekyu only." Um, you know, so there are some shows that are like that, like the Black Summoner, I believe.
That was a good one.
I love that one. Right, like again, the trope is overplayed. Like you get the whole time you're watching it, you're like, this is what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah,
I write something about it though. I do like it. Like it did bring me in. Folks, again too, let's just like give props for props are due. I want to give Big E a shout out. I feel like recently, or at least your newest venture is in the romance.
I've been trying. Every so often I try. They're hard for me, but I do try.
Look.
I do try.
I think Blue Box was a great first step.
That was a good one.
So we Rachel and I just recently finished a recent rewatch of that, because I believe a season 2 is actually also coming of that.
You should be. I know that without getting into it very far, the manga does go pretty. The manga goes really deep, so I would assume that a season 2 comes for that one on. I think it was Netflix that got that one.
Oh, yeah. So again, and so some things that at least maybe I didn't hear it was announced by Crunchyroll. Again, right? Algorithms. Everybody's might be a little bit different. So mine hadn't been feeding it to me, but I do love some Blue Box. So again, right, just again to the shout out for the year, for the anime, to the year of 2026 for anime fans and what we can be expecting. Right here, at least according to AI overview on Google, yes, a second season of the anime Blue Box has officially announced in production, with a release expected in fall of 2026.
We love that.
So, yep, we definitely want to go root for our main boy and gal there, and the best for them, Taiki and Chinatsu.
Oh yeah, baby.
Fingers crossed for them and their endeavors to their championships. So go definitely check out Blue Boxes if you haven't. Prepare for do there as well. Yeah, man. What else are we getting into for 2026? Hell's Paradise is going to be huge. JJK season 3. I think that's enough said. We could obviously spend 45 minutes.
We could spend time on that.
But you know what, folks? Like you're already going to be beat to death the closer we get to the launch of season 3 and what's to come for it. So not only us, but all of your other favorite content creators are
absolutely, but you are going to come here and listen to us talk about it more, because we're pretty cool people. We like to talk about this kind of stuff, pretty passionate, as you can obviously see. So, but yeah, I think getting into it, actually let's go right to that, since you said both of those are pretty much the hype ones. What is your thoughts on the Dark Trio, That is people combining Hell's Paradise, JJK, and Chainsaw. Because here's my thing. I'll go ahead and say it early. I don't think Chainsaw Man is that good. I don't know. I don't think Chainsaw Man's as hyped as it should be.
Hot take for the
I
community there.
don't
Hot
think
take,
JJ. I don't think
maybe.
I don't think Chainsaw is as good as it should be. JJK, yes. I need to actually watch more of it. I kind of fell off into season 2, and I'll get back into it before the new season gets going. Absolutely. Hell's Paradise was great. I thought it was good. I still agree with the 7. I give 7.5 in some areas, but I thought 7 was good. I think Chainsaw is not as good. I don't think it's as good as it should be. Don't think so.
Yeah, I, I know you and I, many a time have gone down this path and stuff before, especially even before the Dark Trio was really even coined, if you will, right, amongst like Big
Yeah.
Three and all of those topics. I don't even think the coinage for the Dark Trio should
I think it's
really be much of a thing. In my opinion, I don't feel like the competition is really there. I Let me reframe this. When I my opinion, when I felt like the Dark Trio was introduced, and when all 3 of these were kind of launched simultaneously for their season 1s, if you will, right? People were like hyping them up to be a dark big 3, which, correct me if I'm wrong, that's wow. Why would you want to set that comparison up? Not only are we trying to say it's the big 3 for the dark side, the darker animes, but then you're already getting compared then to the big 3 that has generationally raised all of us through anime, right? So like I just felt like right up from the rip, I was like, yeah, that's a terrible comparison. Like I wouldn't do that. Since anime production of these series, again, I can obviously be wrong. I just feel like Chainsaw Man and Hell's Paradise haven't kept up with Jujutsu Kaisen, because not only is it season 3, but again, like how much they've covered in their seasons, and Jujutsu Kaisen's done a canonical movie already that did well. Okay, if you haven't seen Jujutsu Kaisen movie 0, don't sleep on that.
yeah.
That's a good movie. This to say, and again, not a Jujutsu Kaisen hater whatsoever, but for the animes that are going to be competing against JJK season 3, in my opinion, this could be a good year to maybe knock it down a peg or 2.
Ooh.
And why I say this, my hot take is I think season 3 could be a little overhyped, because not that we're going to do this. I won't do this all the time, but I used to be a huge fan of JJK. I started reading the manga. I got to the Colin games and slept on it.
I think I did the same. I think that's what
I
drew me off
I
of the show.
I didn't want to grit my teeth and read. I don't know what it was. We got to the, and I started JJK and I was like, I like Panda, and Panda's cool, but and then you get to the Colin games and then something about, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not saying I dislike Panda now, but it's just more of like, I don't know. That little direction for the Colin games, I didn't like it.
I agree. I think that might have been what made me fall off. Yeah. I think that it was just boring to read, I think.
So it like right and so those, and I know other folks, like there's going to be some diehard fans and maybe some folks in our lane here with it, but I'm just telling, like, I want JJK to do well. So let me also make that clear. Like I'm not dunking on JJK and saying, well, the Colin games, is just utter trash. But what I'm saying is, within this series, because there's going to be other moments, I'm further ahead as well as you. So it's like I know what's to come, and so there is more to come. So I think there's nothing wrong, right, with a little dip to hit the peak.
That's true. I mean, I can
look, because you want to talk about overhype. If we so first, back to your question, no Dark Trio. It's just there's just JJK there's an anime called Chainsaw Man that made a movie recently that was for the anime community. I'm glad that they did it. I'm glad it got it received pretty well, but I'm starting to sleep on the story.
Yep.
Hell's Paradise. I'm not saying you're going to be better than JJK or the anime of 2026, but I'm saying this is a good year for you to maybe close the gap.
Yes.
A little bit.
I agree with that.
For that. So
yes.
no dark trio. There's no dark big three that is even a big three that you would compare to big three. Like let's just not. But but for funsies, if you want to go back and forth with each other at it, like, hey, I'm here for someone leave a comment. I'm down. So still excited because they do put love into the animation. So I'm gonna watch it. They choreograph the fights well, and they always have a great intro and outro. So again, for the community, for the love of Mappa, I still looking forward to JJK season 3 and hope it the best.
I hope that I can watch because I hope I need to go and is season 3 of JJK covering the Culling games or they already happened? I can't remember.
Nope, that
is season 3.
No, season. While we're here, we can even.
I'm fairly certain because I don't know, maybe that it's going to be animated.
I'm pretty
maybe
sure they even have it being
better.
advertised as the Culling games. Yep. Jujutsu Kaisen, the Culling game, part 1 is what it's being showed as. So
maybe I'll like it more animated over reading it. I don't know yet.
Yeah, and which there's some truth in that for the before we wrap up to give that comparison again, because there are now that especially too, it seems now the style of anime is we're just gonna follow the manga, right? They're not doing all of this veer off crap anymore, where they do like an anime that is of a show, but then it veers off too far from the manga. It doesn't seem like folks want to follow that recipe as much anymore, which is good. So what I'm just trying to get at is there are some shows that truly are better via manga, and there are some that are better show. And one case in point, in my opinion, for that would be My Hero Academia. I read the whole manga. I own all the books, and I was happy to read the story. I got the feels. It was great, but right, like Bakugo's power is kind of so good. It's kind of hard to capture that in illustration, right? Like how do you though I'm not saying the panels aren't drawn well, right? But you know what I mean? Versus, on my television at home where I just
those are crazy.
It's a little different.
It's a little so good.
So Culling games could be better animated. That may very well be it. I don't know. But that I remember at the time, that's why I actually stopped. The Culling games is why I stopped reading JJK. So yeah.
All right. Real quick then, let's let's just circle back to close on it. What's the one big bold prediction? I'll give mine after yours. What's a bold prediction for going into season 2 of Hell's Paradise, just so we cover it? What's your bold prediction? Just give me one off top of the rip.
Yep, my bold prediction is they're gonna like sever their connection like with the shogunate, like right, like it's the story, like they're originally what brought them there did bring them there, but that's not when the ending comes, like right, it's gonna be so far beyond removed. Like, so that, what I'm saying, so like I feel like season 2 is gonna open our eyes to the depths of the island, and that like right, the pardon in the shogunate is just is a side mission now.
I like that one. I am gonna say Gabby becomes possibly the main villain to side villain of the whole season. At the end, if you remember at the end of what happened, he, just in spoiler in case no one knows, remember he lost his memory at the end there because he used the power. He woke up in a cave and he remembered nothing, and it was like the whole wife thing was an illusion, is what it was portraying as. So I think Gabi's going to kind of resort back to being a really villainy type person.
You think he's going to end up being an obstacle for a little bit? That could be trouble. That could be trouble. So definitely looking forward to it.
Oh yes,
I'm
absolutely.
talking to you about it.
Can't wait
when that hits.
Well, I think that's a solid point there to wrap it up here on the end of it. And if you agree, if you disagree, let us know. We would love to talk about it. We'd love to chat with you guys. If you do enjoy what you see in here, obviously subscribe, give us a like. Get ready for the next week's episode, which we'll be covering. I believe we're going to be covering next week of the new season of Hell's Paradise. And there was something else I'm forgetting that we're going to cover next week. But we'll cover a few animes, I believe, into the next episode. But we look forward to seeing you guys there.
Paradise, I believe, because right now, how they're tracking for Q1, they kind of fall in one after another.
That's right.
I believe it's Hell's Paradise. That's first. Jujutsu Kaisen also starts January 8th.
Ooh, all right.
So
then.
we should have
some stuff to cover then.
And let me take a look here, and Hell's Paradise. So we'll have those, and then I believe Frieren is the following weekend. Frieren season 2 is the 16th. So we'll give our feedback throughout these animes as we move through Q1.
I'm so excited. Can't wait to talk about them. Can't wait to get into them. Can't wait to see what the season brings. And we hope that the hype is high and the checks check out. Anyways, thanks for coming. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you guys on the next one. Laters.